Hey everybody, welcome back behind the bar with me this fine, lovely evening. Tonight we are doing a video I've been wanting to do for a little while. This is if you guys paid attention a couple weeks ago, I posted reviews or video walkthroughs of Veil, the Veil Brewing Company, and Aslan. So that was on my DC East Coast trip, which I loved for a lot of reasons. But tonight, a lot of people have asked me about the other breweries that I went to. And I went to Triple Crossing, which was in Richmond the same day I went to Vail. In my opinion, if you were going to be in Richmond, you were going to go to a brewery, I'd probably go to Triple Crossing before the Vail. For a lot of reasons I don't need to get into. Maybe on one of our podcast nights I'll get into it. But and the other one is The Answer. The Answer Brewpub in Richmond. This was Crowler January 12th, so this is almost exactly a month old. So The Answer is an interesting spot. They're a smaller operation. They have their brewery system is less than half of what the Veil is, for instance, and probably pretty close to what Triple Crossing is. And who is the owner and head brewer there, and a lot of the other guys that I talked to, quite a few people, an amazing experience. I'm going to interlace, I don't know if I'll do it at the beginning or the end, I have brewery footage from this brewery that I shot, that I'll kind of interlace as we go along here. Right here might be a good spot. So I was talking to On, my buddy David was telling me that if you just talk to On, so they have their regular beers, which were awesome, and then they have these things called Andalls, and it's On's version of Randalls, or Rondels, however you pronounce them, where he takes a lot of his base beers into some crazy kind of push through kegs of adjuncts, or not even really, I mean, technically not adjuncts, but just flavors, and they were freaking incredible. The people I was with, which I had an amazing time, opened our eyes, had just one of the best evenings I've ever had. And it was ridiculous because the last place that we went was The Answer, and it was by far the best beer that I had that day. They typically don't crowler these. However, I talked to On, and we had some fun conversations that were amazing, and he basically gave me whatever I wanted, and so they crowlered off some of their Andalls, and that's what we're drinking tonight. So this is not something you can probably easily trade for, but if you're in the Richmond area, you need to go to this brewery. It's incredible. So the one I'm doing tonight, I have actually a ton of them. I was given a ton of them. Blessed. This is Good Nightmare Mekong, which I don't know. Somebody comment below. Cigar City and maybe them did a collab. I don't know, because I don't know how these beers are connected. I don't know if this is that base beer that they both did, but then he Andalled. So this one, I have pulled it up because I took a picture of the menu. This is their Imperial Stout with Vietnamese coffee bean and toasted coconut. Clocking it at 11% ABV. So, anyways, that's what it is. It is pitch black. 2 fingers of just amazing head, still amazingly carbonated, been on a crowler. And this brewery is just a small operation, phenomenal food, amazing staff. I loved it. We were there about so when they closed, and then had to drive back to DC afterwards, which sucked. But it was what it was. It was a good time. Stopped at Sonic, got some mozzarella sticks. Anyways. So let's dive in, and I'll go through this beer and see what we think a month later. So, anyways, so poured out pitch black, 2 fingers ahead. Let's dive in. I can smell it from here. It's freaking still radiating. So the one thing about these beers, the one that I actually loved the best on tap, I opened like 2 weeks later, so 2 weeks ago, and it was so sweet. It was just ridiculously sweet. It's like when it aged, it just got sweeter. This is super sweet. Like sugary candy coated sweetness, candy coated like overly rich chocolate, huge milk chocolate, ridiculous like almond mounds bar, like freaking coconut, candied coconut, like sugar coated coconut. No real coffee to speak of for having Vietnamese coffee. it's so huge in your face. Like, maybe there's a little bit of coffee roastiness right there on the end, but it's like a really like deep, rich roastiness. It's not bitter at all. It's just so fucking sweet. Yeah, just a huge nose, guys. So let's dive in. This is Good Nightmare Mekong, from The Answer in Richmond, Virginia. Let's dive in. Cheers, guys. Jesus Christ. First off, the mouthfeel is freaking incredible. I think part of that has to do with the added flavors that are in the beer. It's like I ate a freaking like Mounds bar. It's so huge sweetness, like candy sweetness, sugar sweetness, with a nice coffee roastiness right up front, and then it just goes into this like sugary coconut amazingness. I've never had a beer, including like Morning Wood, some maple beers. Like, that was actually a poor example. I'm thinking coconut beers. The closest to this I've ever found is the Little Beaver Rye Liquid Mounds Bar. But this is even more sweet. Like, if you don't like sweet stouts, you will freaking hate this beer. It's just huge flavor. It's huge. The roastiness of the stout is there in the background. Again, this is one of those beers that's really polarizing. I had people over and we had some of their beers, and I think that I've been drinking hops. When I went there, I had just a crap ton of hops, like just big hoppy beers from the Veil and Triple Crossing, and I'd flight after flight. And then we go to The Answer, and my tongue was probably numbed a little bit from all the hops, so it didn't seem as sweet when I was there. These beers are super sweet, but they are fucking incredible. Just, it's super sweet, big coconut, big, like, it's like brown sugar and coconut and chocolate, and then just a little bit of roastiness. The stout is so much in the background. The mouthfeel is super syrupy thick. There's pros and cons to this beer. Pros, it's insanely flavorful. Just punches your mouth flavorful. More so than almost any other stouts I've really ever had. Including, the only one I can think of that's even close is Batch 2 Morning Delight when it was fresh, and it was just like drinking maple syrup. This is like that. It's super sugary brown sugar sweet. I'm assuming this is brown sugar in this. It's brown sugar and coconut. Huge coconut. It's like sugar high sweet. I know I've said that a bunch of times, but it's like, so I can drink this glass probably, but it's gonna be really hard for me to try and get through this because I'm the only one drinking it. So I might have to break it up with something in between. But if you like really in your face, flavorful, insane stouts, freaking go to The Answer. I can't tell people enough. If I was going to Richmond and I could only go to 2 breweries, I would go to The Answer first and eat dinner, and then I'd go to Triple Crossing after that. The Veil makes amazing beer. Don't get me wrong, guys. They do. But if you like New England style IPAs and some interesting like Berliner Weisses and stuff like that, I think Triple Crossing is crushing it. Plus their paninis are awesome. And it's just a really cool space. They play like kicked back 90s music, which is all I love that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, for this beer is where I'm at right now today. It is #Hunneds, and this has been in Crowler for a month. It's so flavorful. They kind of cheat the way they're doing it because it's from one keg to another through adjuncts, and it's and you can't take these home. I'm sorry, you go there and you can't, but if I'm reviewing this because you need to go to this brewery. If you live in DC and you haven't gone south to Richmond for anything other than the Veil, you're not, it's not a smart decision. Go to The Answer, get some food, get a flight, get the whole flight. Get them. Last time when I was there, it was 9 beers. Got them all. Only 2 I wasn't a big fan of. But the rest of them were freaking killer. And it's not just stouts. It is Berliner Weiss. They had one that was probably, it's the best Berliner Weiss I've ever had. I mean, it's flat out. I don't have that beer to review. I don't remember what it was called. It tasted like the perfect brunch beer. Like mimosa with grapefruit. Freaking amazingness. It was amazing. I'm rambling on. And like I said, throughout, we'll do some cut-ins, and maybe I'll just do it here at the end. So that's where we're going to leave it, guys. Stay tuned through the credits. I'll put through for my final rating, and then I'll have the final shots that I have left over of the brewery itself. So that is the answer, Brewpub. Ever again let beer thirst catch your unawaresy? Never again. Interesting. Freaking amazing, guys. I'm going hashtag hundreds. Maybe not just for this beer, but just for all the others that I've had. They blew my mind. I said when I was there, it was the best adjunct stout brewery I'd ever been to, and I'm sticking by that. Sorry. So, thank you for coming behind the bar. Thank you for the likes, subscribes, and comments. Until next time, guys. Cheers.